They say trust is earned drop by drop, but lost in buckets. I didn't realize how fast it could spill until I found myself staring at a cloud backup full of messages that weren't meant for me. But let me back up. Because what led to that moment wasn't some smoking gun or lipstick on a collar. It was instinct. That gut feeling every man tries to ignore until he can't. I met Claire when I was 36, and she was 33, fresh off a divorce, sharp-witted, and charismatic as hell. She had this confident laugh, like she'd already figured out the world and was just waiting for the rest of us to catch up. I was just closing a chapter of my own, scraping together enough savings to upgrade from a cramped bachelor condo to something I could really build a life in. Claire didn't own property, but she had this glossy black SUV that looked like it belonged in a commercial. She told me she let her ex keep the condo in the divorce. He needed the roots, I needed the freedom, she'd said with a shrug. For a while, it all made sense. We clicked fast. I was touring rundown condos and juggling renovation estimates. She was crashing with her parents while commuting to a respectable corporate gig. When I stumbled on a rough-looking 5-bedroom unit in a prime location, she was the first person I showed it to. She fell in love with the potential. The place was a wreck, cracked tiles, broken drywall, old utility bills stuffed in drawers. But to me, it was a blank canvas. I asked her point blank, if I go for it, are we in this together? You wanna go in 50/50ths on the down payment? Her answer was a hard no. I don't have that kind of cash, Nick. I'd love to, and that was it. So I bought it solo. Signed the papers. Hired the contractors. And right around the time the kitchen was finally functional, we got married. That's when things changed. Claire started using this phrase, your condo, a lot. Where's your hammer? Your electrician's here. Your mortgage payment's due. She wasn't wrong. But the way she said it, like the place was a hotel I owned and she was just passing through, it started to dig under my skin. I thought maybe she'd feel more at home if I remodeled it just the way she liked, colors, furniture, everything. Still, it never seemed to soften her attitude. Her best friend Maddie was around a lot, a divorced mom of 2 with a talent for turning everything into a playdate or picnic. Claire loved tagging along for her mommy and me afternoons even though she didn't have kids. One day, Maddie told Claire she scored a 2-week wellness retreat package at a Sanatorium-style resort just outside the city. It'll be good for us. Reset. Cleanse. Meditate, Claire said, selling it like she was pitching a spa product on daytime TV. The retreat was in early November, and when I asked if that was normal, she replied like I was out of touch. They run all year, babe. Just, let me do this. Alarm bells rang. Claire was always careful with her phone. Never left it out. And when she did, it was cleaner than a politician's public statements. I don't usually snoop, I'm not proud of it, but that night, while she was in the kitchen and Face ID was active, I made my move. I asked casually, hey, can I make a quick call? She handed the phone over without a blink. I scanned her texts and call history. All work-related. Boring. My instincts told me something was off, but I had no proof. So I said, go. If it makes you happy, take the break. The first few days she was gone, she called once, maybe twice, but only when I reached out. It was always rushed. Vague. Mediation's about to start, or can I call you tomorrow? Then, silence. On the 5th night, I needed my car early the next morning. A snowstorm had hit and my windshield was frozen solid. I remembered Claire had borrowed my ice scraper weeks ago. I called her at 11:30 p.m., not exactly spa hour. It went to voicemail. Then a second later, it lit up, another call was incoming. From whom? Who chats at midnight in a wellness retreat? When she finally answered, she whispered, oh, sorry, babe. Just a work thing. Consulting project from my old job. You know how it is. Something about her tone was too calm. Too polished. I didn't push it. Found another scraper. But I remembered that call. She returned a week later, driving herself back like it was just another Sunday errand. I asked for her phone again, this time with a different strategy. I didn't go for the call log. I waited for her to hit the shower, sat on the edge of the tub, and noticed a push notification from her cloud backup warning that storage was nearly full. Curious, I accessed her archived chats. There it was. A flood of texts with a guy named Derek. Heart emojis. Love you. I miss you. All exchanged while she was supposedly doing yoga and meditating in the mountains. Derek, that name. It clicked. Maddie had a brother, Derek, the laidback, between gigs type she'd mentioned in passing a dozen times. He was never around. A musician? A freelance graphic designer? I couldn't remember. But Maddie always described him with a smile, like he was harmless, a lovable screw-up. Turns out, Derek wasn't just in the picture. He was in the room and in my marriage. I scrolled further. Found a message from Maddie to Claire during the retreat. Just step outside. Talk to him. Maybe he'll swing by. He did swing by. And Claire. She swung right with him. I confronted her the moment she stepped out of the bathroom. I didn't yell. I didn't throw things. I just handed her the phone. The screen glowed with their chat thread, mushy, ridiculous, full of digital affection. She stared at it, took a slow breath, and actually had the nerve to say, maybe that's for the best. I didn't know how much longer I could pretend. Pretend? That wasn't the end of the rabbit hole. Turns out, Maddie, dear sweet Maddie, had crafted a master plan. Claire had been complaining about our power imbalance. Maddie saw an opportunity. Her brother needed a place. Claire needed an emotional escape. And Maddie assumed, wrongly, that Claire owned half of my 5-bedroom condo. Because Claire never corrected her. I chuckled. Bitterly. If she had owned half, we wouldn't have argued about duct tape and who paid for grout. She would have been confident. Instead, she felt resentful. And when resentment festers, people start making decisions that taste sweet in the moment but rot later. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I showed her the door. And you know what? The 5-bedroom condo feels a hell of a lot bigger without her energy dragging it down. So if you're ever unsure, if your gut tells you something's off, trust it. Sometimes, all it takes is a snowstorm, an old ice scraper, and a bloated cloud backup to uncover the truth behind someone's shameful little secrets.